Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Mr. Richard Shamukuni. I'm a Chief Radiation Protection Officer under the Radiation Protection Inspectorate, responsible for environment monitoring and radioactive waste management. I'll be presenting on the overview of nuclear legislative landscape in Botswana. My presentation layout will be as follows: background, legislative framework, establishment of regulatory body, regulatory activities, status of regulatory environment, strategies to strengthen regulatory environment, background. Botswana is a member state of the International Atomic Energy Agency in good standing since 2002. As a member state of the IAEA, Botswana is obliged to ensure accountability and safe disposition of all radioactive materials, substances, and radiation sources within her borders. As such, the country has signed several legally binding and non-binding agreements and conventions in radiation safety and security to demonstrate its commitment in providing an enabling environment for the development and utilization of nuclear technology in a safe and sustainable manner for the benefit of the nation. Having recognized the need to safely and securely manage and control the use of nuclear technology for the benefit of the nation, and the increasing usage of radioactive materials in various sectors of the economy, the government established a regulatory framework in 2006 through an Act of Parliament. As such, the Ministry of Tertiary Education, Research, Science and Technology, through the Radiation Protection Inspectorate, has been mandated to provide regulatory oversight and foster safe and secure use of nuclear technology in the country. Legislative framework. The government has enacted the following legal instruments to regulate the safe use of nuclear technology in the country: the Radiation Protection Act of 2006, the Radiation Protection Regulations of 2008. Now, the objectives of the Radiation Protection Act is to provide administration and control for the peaceful use of nuclear technology, to ensure compliance with internationally accepted safety standards, to promote and enforce safety practices for licensed users, to deter criminal intentions of using ionizing radiation. Now, under the law, we have a prohibition and restriction on ionizing radiation in nuclear activities. Section 23, subsection 1 requires the following: no person shall acquire, own, possess, transfer, distribute, sell, use, manufacture, transport, import radioactive substances or source, administer any radioactive substance to any person for purposes of diagnosis, treatment, or research, physically or chemically modify any part of radioactive material, dispose of any radioactive waste, unless such person has been granted a license by the Radiation Protection Board to do so. Legislative penalties under the Act and regulations. Section 23, subsection 4 states as follows: any person who contravenes subsection 23, subsection 1 shall be guilty of an offense and liable to a fine not exceeding 500,000 or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 10 years or both. Under the regulations, we have regulations 102, subregulation 5. Any person who is guilty of an offense under the regulations for which no penalty is otherwise provided for shall be liable to a fine not exceeding 25,000 or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months, or to both. Now, we have the establishment of regulatory body. The government established the Regulatory Protection Board and the Radiation Protection Inspectorate through the Radiation Act of 2006. Now, the mandate for the Radiation Protection Board is to authorize the peaceful use of nuclear technology in the country by way of licensure and setting of conditions to such license. The mandate for the Radiation Protection Inspectorate is to implement the decisions of the board and to also enforce regulatory requirements pertaining to the safe use of nuclear technology in the country and matters incidental thereto, in line with the provisions of the Act and the regulations. Under the Inspectorate, we have the following structure. The Inspectorate operates with 4 divisions as follows: environment monitoring and radioactive waste, licensing and inspections, standards and instrumentation, corporate services, regulatory activities or functions of the Inspectorate. The Inspectorate, under the law, is required to do the following: to enforce regulatory requirements, to enter a site or facility at any time to carry out statutory inspections, require any operator to conduct a safety assessment, to recommend to the board the issue, amendment, suspension, or revocation of licenses, and the setting of conditions to such licenses, to liaise and coordinate with other government and non-governmental organizations having competency in such areas as health and safety, environmental protection, security, and transport of dangerous goods, and to also respond to radiological emergencies. Now, the following pictures try to highlight the slides that I just mentioning, the functions of the Inspectorate. This is the verification of source inventory, facility inspections. Under environment monitoring, we have a radon monitoring as a function of the Inspectorate, and then we have the radio analysis as a function of the Inspectorate. There's a lab that do the radio analysis. And then under the worker and workplace monitoring, we have occupational exposed workers. We have a national lab that do the analyze the TLDs. And then we have commissioning of X-ray generators as a function under the Inspectorate. Then we have stakeholder collaboration. This is a picture that shows training of inspectors by the USA Department of Energy. And then the Inspectorate has a function of public awareness. This is a picture that shows an officer trying to explain the mandate of the Inspectorate to the public. And then the function, another function of the Inspectorate is to respond to radiological emergencies. This is a picture that shows a fire incident at China Civil Engineering in Palape. This was during the construction of the BUST in 2009. So you can see that the inspectors are busy trying to locate the truck slide gauge, which is at the bottom of the picture there, with that arrow showing the bent truck slide gauge. That is the equipment that was bent, which was supposed to be located and taken out of the site by the inspectors. And then under the status of regulatory environment, currently under the authorized facilities, we have a total of 301 out of 401, which is 75% facilities under the RPI database that hold valid license to possess and use radiation sources as at the 24th September 2021, while a total of 100 facilities has been prohibited to use sources, or they do have expired licenses as of 24 September 2021. Now, under enforcement, we have a total of 62 facilities that remain closed or prohibited to use their sources because of violations of the legal requirements. What we have noted is that the common contraventions or violations of the law are non-renewal of licenses to possess and use radiation source or material. Then we have importation of radiation sources or materials without an import permit. And then we have transportation of radioactive materials within the country without a transport permit. And then we have non-monitoring of occupationally exposed workers. These are the common violations that we notice when we do the inspections. Now, what is the inspectorate or the ministry doing to strengthen the regulatory environment? So strategies to strengthen regulatory environment are as follows. A comprehensive review of the Radiation Protection Inspectorate and the regulations is ongoing to address identified regulatory gaps and to also align the provisions of the current laws with the requirements of the prevailing IAEA nuclear safety and security standards. Furthermore, the government is installing radiation detection equipment at major ports of entry to control illicit trafficking of radiation sources or materials. Then there are plans to construct a national centralized storage and conditioning facility to manage and store disused or spent radioactive sources, and then continue the intensification of public and end user radiation safety awareness campaigns. These will assist to strengthen the regulatory environment as per the law. I thank you for your attention.